My name is Michael Kaluba, and I'm happy to be here today. I'm from Uganda, and I'm part of the OpenStreetMap in Uganda. And I'm privileged also to serve on the board of directors for Wikimedia Community User Group Uganda. And this project is as a result of that partnership. Today we are going to be talking about the mapping of museums. We project two separate projects that we conducted last year and this year under GLAM. Those of you who are familiar with GLAM, galleries, libraries, archives. So I'm going to talk about how we incorporated Wikimedia projects and OpenStreetMap in mapping both libraries and the museums. So this session, I'm going to be sharing about how libraries and museums were mapped using ODK, OSM, and the uMaps, and also share the methodology and community engagement strategies, highlighting challenges and insights, and explore the integration of Wikidata, Wikipedia, and OpenStreetMap. Also inspire the replication of the same project in other communities. So why libraries and museums matter? We all know that libraries and museums, these are custodians of knowledge, and they are used to keep the heritage of cultures and nations. And we in Uganda, most people don't have like the culture to read, but you find that they need that inspiration to show them how beneficial and how important these libraries and museums are. So we thought of how, because there was literally no data that was showing any of these libraries and museums. There were there was no geotag data. Even with the National Library, didn't have what they have. What they had were just names of libraries, but they never had geotag data. When you ask for them, they never provide. So we were like, okay, we are going to come in and support you, collect this data, provide you with maps, which you can share with your partners, and use it for, give it that data freely to those that even need it for research. Yeah? So, this just talk about, we all know the importance of museums. Because I want to spare some time and do some bit of demonstration of the products we came out with after. So this was the problem. There was no centralized data on museums and library locations. Yeah, there were literally names. They know that in this district we have these libraries. But when you ask them where exactly are these libraries, they can't provide this data. Also, there was difficulty in accessing the libraries and museums, especially in rural areas, because those libraries and museums within city centers are the ones that people are familiar with. Yet there are more diverse communities and cultures being preserved elsewhere other than in the cities. So they never had, it would be difficult if, for example, you from the Philippines or anywhere in the world, you want to travel to Uganda and maybe visit a specific museum that you're interested in. It will be hard for you to navigate there because there was no information about their actual location. There are also inadequacy in resource distribution. Most of the community libraries and museums in the city centers tended to benefit more. For example, if the National Library is giving out books, they tended to give so much attention to those libraries and museums in the city centers, unlike those in the rural areas. Yet there were more, from the data collection we had, we realized that there were some museums that even the Uganda Community Museums Association wasn't aware of. Because first of all, they have to do an annual subscription. So if you don't subscribe, then you're not recognized, but you are actually running. So when, from our research, we realized that there were so many other museums that were not being recognized for the efforts there. putting in. There was also a need for accurate mapping, enhanced library and museums accessibility. I talk about that, and also need for visibility. You will see that some of the products we provided were embedded on the National Library's website, and also the Uganda Community Library, the Community Museums Association website. Yeah. So the project was to look about who initiated the project. This project was under GLAM, under the Wikimedia Community User Group Uganda, with support from the OpenStreetMap community, because we needed that GIS aspect of this project. So we had to come up with the relevant components or people that we'll need to incorporate in within the projects. Yeah, so why the libraries and museums were prioritized? Because we realized these are custodians of knowledge and preservation of cultures and heritage. So we wanted to make visibility of their work and probably boost them. Like we were able to share some of this information to show people that, hey, in your area there is a library. If you need a book, you don't need to come to town. You can find that book in your nearest library, or you can have this kind of artifact within your closest museum. Because when we were collecting data, we were able to collect like thorough information, basic information needed about a library, what collection they have, which year they started, and the same applied to museums. What collections do they have? What do they focus on? Is it for students, researchers? Is it for the community? So all that information, we were able to collect it in our data collection exercise. So we were focusing on mapping community libraries and museums across Uganda. With the libraries, we mapped them last year, but for the museums, we worked on them this year. So we collaborated with the Uganda Community Libraries Association, that is COLAO, and then also the Uganda Community Museums Association, called UCOMA. We use OpenStreetMap and Wikimedia platforms for hosting content and integrating that content. Yeah? So these are the tools we used. First of all, I created the forms or the questionnaires using Excel. And after creating the questionnaires, because we came up with questions, we had brainstorming sessions and asked ourselves, which information do we need to collect? So after creating the questions, we shared them with the respective bodies, UCOMA and Uganda Community Museums Association. So once the questions were approved, I went ahead and created the questionnaires in Excel. And then after creating the questionnaires in Excel, they were hosted on Kobo and then accessed via ODK to download the questionnaires, and data collection was done. So after data collection was done, let me also look at the process. So most of you who are familiar with data collection, you know this cycle. Yeah? So the questionnaire was created and they were hosted on Kobo and accessed via the mobile phones. Data was collected and then sent back to the server. So from the server, data is downloaded after collection. And then the following process there is to do cleaning, because data from the field sometimes cannot be used right away. You need to do some bit of polishing and cleaning. So after that is done, then these processes came into play. First of all, I created a uMap for both the libraries and the museums. And then we were able as a team. We were about a team. Last year we were a team of 5, and same as this year. Yeah, under the leadership of Alice. So we were able to create Wikidata items for those qualifying libraries and museums. Number 2, most museums were not covered well to have Wikipedia articles, but several libraries, several museums were documented on Wikipedia as well. Yeah. So the museums that were created on Wikipedia, I was able to link them on Wikidata and as well as OpenStreetMap. Yeah, same apply to Wikidata. Those that whose Wikidata we created, we were able to link them on OpenStreetMap as well, because you know there is that provision for Wikidata and the Wikipedia for an OpenStreetMap entry. Yeah. So these are some of the products, and unfortunately, I think uMaps tried. I think of late they limited their resources because there are some layers that are not visible here. Yeah. When you try to upload those layers, they show you that they are uploaded, but they can't be previewed in the actual preview of the data. But these are some of the products, and we will check them out one by one live. And then this way, the museums that we were able to collect, and we will also preview this, and you see how the products look like. Now, the impact, we were able to improve access to these museums because I was able to add several of these entries on OpenStreetMap as well. Yeah, so you can easily navigate to any of these areas. Number two, we were able to support, because now the data is readily available, those doing research can easily access that data, and empowering communities. So many community stories were not told before. But now when we went in and we were able to gather this information, you can see the rich information that was not being known to the world. Also increasing visibility for these libraries and museums. So what we are planning for the future, we are planning to do this even for other institutions, not only libraries and museums, but also we are looking at going into galleries, going into archives. So those are some of the future plans that we are planning to have. And these were the metrics before and after the project. For, some of you may be aware of Wikimedia Commons. So we were able to take pictures, and those pictures were hosted on Wikimedia Commons. Yeah? So we were able, for community libraries, there were no pictures at all on Wikimedia Commons, but we were able to upload 119 pictures for public libraries. We were also able to upload 141 images or media files of community libraries. And then on Wikidata, before the projects, we had 27, but then we pushed them to 65 on Wikidata. And then for museums, we had 38, then pushed them to 64 museums. Now, for OpenStreetMap entries, you can see the difference. There are only 5 libraries on OpenStreetMap, but then we pushed them to 40 to 48. And then we had only 8 museums covered, but we pushed them to 26. So I mentioned about these partnerships. As you are already aware, I also shared some of the important links. So I will quickly look through these, and we see how these look like. So these are the community libraries, and each of these entries has attributes that we were able to collect within the form, and also the images for each one of them. As you can see, you can be able to pan around and look for a specific library that you might be interested in. So when you click on an entry, you can be able to see the details, like where that library is located, and plus a brief history. So you can read about each one of them and see when they started and what inspired them to start. So also, you'll be able to see the images. And these images are hosted on Wikimedia Commons. Okay? So each of these entries has this information on them. So depending on your need, you can find any of them and just have some read about them, and then also see the collection of images and of materials they have, because it's a lot of information about each one of them. And most of these are already on OpenStreetMap, so you can easily navigate to those places. And then also this is for the museums. So these are the museums. Also, same applies. Each one of them has images and as well as details about them. When you click up on each one of them, you will see the image of that place, and then you'll see the details like the background. Some that charge, you will also see the fee there. So you go knowing that this one is free, this one is to pay to enter. And then to whom it is open, and plus the contact. So you can easily communicate to this person and make arrangements. And the images as well. Also, for the libraries, the map was hosted on the National Library of Uganda. So you can be able to see the map there. That shows you the impact. Because so many people visit this website for different information. Also, to share with you some articles. These are articles, Wikipedia articles for the library, the community museum, which we were able to document, those that qualify, because not all of them would qualify to be documented on Wikipedia. Those of you that are well aware of this. You can be able to check out the Wikipedia articles. And these Wikipedia articles are also linked to the OpenStreetMap entries for this specific museum. Okay? There are several of them, about 14. So you can have some time and check them out. And now these are the media files. So media files for specific libraries and museums, depending on the category you're looking at. Yeah. So these media files are for this specific library, as you can see, and the same applies to public libraries. So you can be able to see the images we took under this project for public libraries. You can be also able to check out the museums here under the category community museums in Uganda. I think that is it for now. I will welcome any questions. Thank you so much. Are there any questions? Yes, please.
I'm curious about how long has been done?
How
long? Which year?
For the community libraries, we started in March 2024, and we finished by July 2024, yes. Then for the community museums, because I was pushing this faster because I had to have a presentation at Wikimania. I didn't want to present update information. So we had to push it. For the museums, we started around March still, but by May, we were almost done. And then we started on creating this product. Yes. So it took roughly, you can give it 3 months for each of the projects. Yes. Yes.
How big Wikidata or the comments in Wikidata and vice versa? On Wikidata, how big? Because on Wikidata, there's a main feature properties and also the external feature properties. I'm curious about how big
for Wikidata and OpenStreetMap. Because now the beauty with Wikidata, you don't need to have much sources for the information you're giving, as long as it is accurate information. So we will literally create these items from the facts we got, because some of the facts are not really covered in media as we needed citations, but most of the information we created for Wikidata items was from the facts we created from the field. And then also, like I told you, we linked most of these items. When you check on OpenStreetMap and entry, you'll be able to see a Wikidata, and then a Wikipedia article, if that item qualified for a Wikipedia article, yes. Yeah.
Depends on how many stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Is a question? Yes.
Right in the beginning, the problem of the difficulty of assessing the libraries and the museums. And I was wondering how easily this data that are collected is being made accessible to ordinary people. Because, I was just wondering if they don't know about libraries or museums in the vicinity, will they be able to get to uMap and have that data? And maybe then the collaborations with multiplicators, who can spread this whole lot of data and knowledge.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, as I mentioned, not only did I add these entries to OpenStreetMap, but I know most of you use Google Maps. Yes? I added these entries there, some of them. So the moment you Google that library, the moment you Google that museum, you'll be asked to, if you need direction, and you'll be asked to be directed. Also, the National Library is pushing it out because it always gives out books to libraries. So when they give out these books, they are able to tell them more of this information we're able to provide to them. Same applies to the museums. And Ukoma is doing a lot of work, plus the Cross Cultural Foundation of Uganda. They are pushing, like, for them, they had just statistics, names, but they didn't have the geotag information. And this data is readily available. Anyone can access that data if you need it. Yes. Yes. The difference is because those that are not there yet will be added. Because I was personally doing that. Yeah, I was personally doing that. Because like training other people, people are busy. So it is hard to rely on anyone. You have to do it if you need it done quickly and easily. Yes. There was a question from Geoffrey. Yes. Time. It's not working. Yes. Yes. Yeah, thank you so much. Like Book 8, from our project, Book 8 started, actually they increased the amount of books it was giving out to Uganda under the Uganda Community Libraries Association. So they will ask which libraries can we, because even Uganda Communications Commission was giving out computers. So they will ask, select out the libraries that we can give computers. So we could easily share with them a map and tell them this one, and they would have like thorough information to make proper decision on which one needs the computers and how many. Yes. I think questions are over. Thank you so much. Really appreciate for your coming. Oh, can I respond to them? Yeah, we have some questions from Vanillus. Who did you target for data collection using the questionnaires, and what was your sample size, like the scope of the data collection? One, I considered, since we were in a partnership with OpenStreetMap Uganda and Wikimedia, so I looked at people involved in OpenStreetMap and those that are familiar with Wikipedia or Wikimedia projects. So those are the people I targeted. So I trained them. With the sample size, we were not really looking at any sample sizes. We were focusing on collecting all possible libraries, all possible museums. Yeah? Yeah, that's answered, I guess. And were there any challenges with duplicate entries, outdated information, or inconsistent naming, and how did you address them? Yes, this was common because one, community libraries are run by individuals. Yes? So some of them were no longer functioning because of resources. Some of them were renting and they lacked rent, so they are no longer operational. So with Wikidata, you can just say this was a library, meaning it is no longer functional. You can put the year when it started and when it stopped operating. Yeah? With OpenStreetMap, that one is an entry that can be removed because that place is no longer really existing. With Wikipedia, still, if it was qualifying for a Wikipedia article, that article will be standing because that place really existed but no longer operating. With the duplicates, yeah, with Wikidata, you can merge those duplicates. We could merge some of them with the outdated information because some of them keep on changing their contact information. So that information is, we keep on updating it. So we keep on getting that information and updating it. Do you see any potential for scaling this model to other countries and different types of culture? Exactly, that's why I'm presenting. So that you're able to be inspired and do it. Because I will not come from Uganda, come to the Philippines, and then go and collect data for libraries and museums. That means the person from here has to take charge of this. If you've not done it, then you can do it. If we've done it with less resources, you can do it even with limited resources. I think those are the questions I had from Venules. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for Mr. Michael for sharing your knowledge with us. That was a fantastic talk.